back.
Yep.
You're back.
I'm back.
Glad that you're back. You haven't forgotten how, have you?
I almost did.
I know we have all almost forgot. No, we're so glad that you're here for Tuesday training. It's an exciting lineup we have coming. Some really fun, new, different things.
Oh yeah.
The great. In fact, let's go ahead and go over to the coming up next. We're going to talk about winners do it.
Oh yeah.
And do it. And do it.
Until the job gets done.
Until the job gets done, right? SNSD Andy Young, of course. We'll do the rally. Bobby Peterman, whole new guest. We're excited to hear what the home office has to say.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got so many great things that they reported yesterday in the RVP meeting. It's very cool. Everything Keystone that we continue to talk about. And some promotions and some real specific questions. We talked last week about getting questions from you. Some Q&A on Andy's system. Some of you submitted questions. We're going to answer those today. And Andy will talk about some. And Wes will talk about some as well.
Yep.
He's going to be joining us too. It's your turn.
So we've got the social media as always. So if you want to use, first of all, just subscribe to us if you're watching us on YouTube right now. Hit the subscribe button. If you hit the little bell icon next to it, you'll get a reminder when we go live. But it's every Tuesday night at 7. Not that hard. If you want to appear on our social wall, you can use our hashtag SNSD Factory.
Oh.
You use that on anything, basically, the Twitter or Instagram. And then Facebook, the hashtag's there, but the way the system works, they don't let us get it that way, so you have to mention us at Let's Get Big or Go Home. I didn't make the rules.
Yep.
And if you don't have social media, you can text us at 404-465-1830. But any of those ways, it's going to show up on our social wall, which,
Looks like.
Oh, there
oh,
it is.
There it is. Looks like that.
Yep.
Very nice.
So that's how we've got. That's how we do recognition a lot of times at our virtual big events and stuff like that. But you can use it, year round. We've got it up there all the time. If you want to go to getbigorgohome.com, you can actually check it out anytime you want under the social feed tab, and it's right there. So use those hashtags. Make sure your posts are public, and it'll show up.
You know what might be kind of fun? If we do reminiscing for Keystone pictures.
Yeah, post your Keystone
Let's
pictures.
put some Keystone pictures up there. And
yeah,
what did he just say to us? Speak up. Oh, speak up. Okay, sorry about that. Speak up. All right, you guys, let's put some Keystone pictures out there and let's see what's like. I went back through mine all the way back to in 2014. I must have not thought it was worth a picture because I didn't have any. But after that, I've got pictures from every year, and maybe I'll pull them up
Amy's
later.
Been digging through them
Is
too,
she too? I'll put some out on the wall too. So go ahead and post some Keystone pictures, and then we can be looking at them and reminiscing about bygone and getting our minds all about what we're going to do this year. It's going to be awesome. All right. What's up? Oh, the rally.
Well, you know,
oh, promotions. Yes. Turn in your promotions. I just printed off a whole bunch of them. We do all promotions on Tuesday. So if you had somebody that was promoted even to RVP, we'll mention their name, congratulate them, and it's very awesome. So all the promotions you did during the week, from last Tuesday to this Tuesday, right? So after that, we're going to talk about the rally.
Yep. So we're going to kick it off now, right? RVPs only for the moment, but if you're an RVP, we want to know how many people in your base shop you have watching. This is the virtual attendance, the virtual head count, right? So if you text 404-465-1830, just save it in your phone if you haven't already, and we need to know who you are and how many people you got watching. So there's an example right there, RVP Young, got 999 people watching, and you just text that number, and if you get an update, somebody, stuck in traffic, they finally get home, they say, oh, okay, I'm on now, we'll just update your number, send us another text. But eventually we're going to cut it off, pick the top teams, and we're going to have everybody from those top base shops report in individually to figure out who our winner is at the end of each week.
It's going to take 999 people pretty soon.
Yeah, Belda's been
we're going to have to
ass.
add another 9 there. Belda is kicking ass, and we can go ahead and show Belda's picture. Week number 4 with some great numbers. Hey, Trish, do you remember what she reported her number last week? I think the high number was 183 or something. 134 or something like that. But
132.
I was
132.
Close. Great numbers, great numbers. But you know what? Just like Walter, she's available for
Yep. Records
Somebody
are
to
made to be
beat her,
broken.
exactly. Somebody will beat her. Numbers are incredible. So we'll go back
And
to.
she still only won it 4 times. I mean, she's
I
got
know.
crazy numbers. People
I
got to really
know.
put it together to
I
beat
know,
her.
but
I
you
mean,
got
you
it-
consider
you got
Walter
time.
Charles had 10 of them.
10 plus a big rally,
Yeah, plus
a big one, right? Back at Unicoi.
Here's
No,
the
not
number
at Unicoi,
one
at the
more
Ball.
time.
There
In
we
case you
go.
forgot, you're scrambling, you didn't have your pen and paper in front of you. 404-465-1830. Once again, at the moment right now, we only want to hear from the RVPs. Tell us who you are. Tell us how many people from your base shop you got reporting in, watching the training right now.
So tonight we're going to kick off with one of, I think, everybody's hands down favorite 5 minutes from Art Williams ever. So let's talk, Matt, if you'd roll the video, let's watch Winners That Do It.
Another thing in building this winning attitude in business, you know, I see tall people make it big in business and short people, dumb people and smart people, fat people and skinny people. But if you cut open the winners in business, I see a heart of a champion. And all these people are competitors and they don't quit. I believe desire and will to win is everything. I don't know why I'm like I am, but my butt's always burning. There's always something say, Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to go for it. Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to be somebody. You're supposed to make a difference with your life. I've got 2 vice presidents in our company in Dallas, Texas right now. Last year, one was paid $50,000 and one was paid $500,000. You look at the outside and study those 2 individuals, everything seems to be the same. They both are the same sex. They both are the same age. They've been at A.O. Williams the same period of time, had the same training, the same positions, the same contract, the same fringe benefits. They both are successful. They work hard. They're good family people, make tough commitments. But what's the difference? What does the $500,000 a year person do the $50,000 a year person doesn't do? He pays the price and a little bit more. He works hard and a little bit more. He's loyal to the company and a little bit more. He believes in a little bit more. He makes money and a little bit more. He saves money and a little bit more. If you want to win in these United States, you got to be tough and you can't quit. The last thing I'll talk to you about today in building this winning edge is, folks, if you want to win in business, you got to be a leader. Leadership is everything. You show me anything in these United States that win, I'll show you a leader at work. You show me a successful church, Boy Scout troop, club, football team, business, I'll show you something run by a leader. See, I thought at one time in my life you had to be smart to win. I used to have these smart people that dress so pretty and talk so pretty and use these big words. They just intimidated me. And I said, Art, you can't ever be that good. Why don't you just throw in the towel and go on back and coach football for a living? And I found 2 things out about smart people. I think it's almost impossible for a smart person to win in business in America today. Because I find smart people spend their whole lifetime figuring things out. They always trying to figure out an easier way and a quicker way. And another thing I found out about smart people is they just don't get around to doing nothing. And see, somebody like Art Williams, everybody said, well, he can't do it. And somebody like that can't do it. But he does it. See, folks, I want you to know almost everybody in America almost does enough to win. They almost get there. They almost are over the hump. They almost have it going. They almost, in everything they do, almost is a way of life to almost everybody in America. But the winners do it. What do? They do whatever it takes to get the job done. They do it and do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to be somebody they're proud of. We need leaders in America who can do it. If you want to become somebody, do it. If you want to go in business for yourself, do it. If you want to become financially independent, do it. I hear too much talk in these United States. Everybody can talk a good game. We need people in America who can do it. I go all over this country with A.O. Williams, and I have people say, Art, you can count on me. Wonderful. Just do it. Art, I guarantee you this is my last stop. I'm going to win now. Super duper. Just do it. Art, I'm going to be a sales leader in 20 days. Wonderful. Just do it. Art, I guarantee our Life Underwriters Association is going to run all you termites out of the business. Wonderful. Just do it and then talk about it. Art, if I could just have one good month and get the ball going, I know I could make it big. Super. Just do it. Art, if I could just pay off this debt, I could really go. Great. Just do it. Art, if I could just sell my house, do it. But houses ain't selling. Do it anyway. Art, I'm not making any money. What can I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, I guarantee I'm going to win this contest. Super duper. Just do it. Art, I'm over the hump now. Watch my smoke. Great. Just do it. Art, I want to make it so bad I can taste it. What I do? You just do it. Art, I'm a vice president now. Can I quit doing it? No. Art, I don't know if I can keep on keeping on. I'm really hurting. What I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, all my life I wanted to be somebody important. Well, what do it then? Art, I'm going to save money so I don't have to go through this again. Great. Just do it. I'm hurting, Art. I'm really hurting. What I do? You just do it. Art, dadgummit, I just had a fight with my wife. What I do? You just do it. Art, did you see what President Reagan did with those folks over there in Iran? Just do it. Art, I don't feel like I've had enough training. What I do? You just do it. Art, my manager don't give me no help. What I do? You just do it. Art, you don't understand. I was Mr. Everything at my former company. You don't mean I have to start off down here at the bottom and do it, do you? Yep, you really got to do it. Art, what's the primary difference between winners and losers? The winners do it. They do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to finally have achieved something unique and how glad they are that they didn't quit like everybody else and how wonderful it is to finally be somebody they're proud of and make a difference with their life. Thank you.
One of the all-time, the speech, right? Just do it, right? And I loved his simplicity of the concept, right? Because some of our questions were asking Andy about his system, like, do you do it this way or do you do it that way? And the beauty of Andy's system, just like art, is its simplicity, it's duplicatable, and you just actually, it's almost so simple that our brains can't. Yeah,
you're trying to look for something deeper than what's actually just
exactly.
there. And that's all
just
it is.
Do the thing.
Yep.
Right? How's the brand new baby?
Baby's good.
Good.
She's got a lot of hair.
Good. Well, that's good. That's nice.
More than little Andy had. So no, she's good. She's found her voice. She knows how to cry loud now.
Good.
So.
Then she's on her way. All right, you guys. Great news yesterday from the Home Office about the military.
Oh yeah. We'll wave the IBA fee.
Wave it. That was the word I was looking for. Went away. All right. Should we welcome SNSD Andy Young back to the party? Are you out there? There you are. Uh-oh. Hold on. You have to unmute. Unmute.
Unmute.
Oh,
How
there
about
you
that?
are.
Is that better?
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah. Now you can hear. Okay. I'm doing great. You know, we got some great stuff going on through the hierarchy. Telling Bobby Peterman we're going to have him on in a couple minutes here. Just, how amazing things are right now in the company. Over 40 years in the business, one of the best months that we've ever had. And just really excited about a lot of things that are going on. And I think, as a leader, listen to Art there. And I mean, if that doesn't fire you up, I don't know if you can be fired up. But you listen to Art, and it's like, at the end of the day, you got to make a decision. Do you want to win? What level do you want to win at? And I think right now, you got Tuesday. Today, is the kind of the first day, really, if you think about it. But if you go 4 weeks from now, 4 weeks from today is going to be December 1st. And if you break that into 4 quarters, so you got between now and next week, the 10th, and then you got the 17th, and then you got the 24th, and you got December 1st. You got four quarters in the game. But if you're any kind of team that wants to win a championship, you want to, win the game. But then if you want to, put yourself in position, you got to put yourself in position to win. And there's multiple things that come into play right there. Obviously, layers of players, recruits. And at that, maybe right now you might think, well, I don't know if I've got all the players I need. Well, a lot of you probably don't right now, which means you got to be the player. You got to be the one that makes the decision. You got to be the one that takes the ball, runs with it. You got to be one, wants the ball at the end of the game in the basketball game to take that shot. With 2 strikes in the bottom of the 9th inning, Tampa Bay on that Saturday night game. I think it was game 4. You know, all is lost. Nothing's going to work. Oh my God, what are we going to do? The guy gets up there, he never had a hit in the entire postseason. They called him up for the World Series, and dadgummit, he gets 2 runs in. You know, because this is your shot, and you get your shot. You got to get yourself to go do, you know, the things that are necessary. And one of those things, and we have that in the studio, and we talk about it all the time, is embracing the repetition. You know, you've got to be the leader that's going to go get it done. If you don't, and at the end, I'll talk, you know, answer some questions that people sent in over the last couple of weeks. But you got to make the decision that you're going to go do it first. And I promise you, in 19 days, I just talked about 28 days between now and December 1st. In 19 days, I changed my career, changed my life. In 19 days, went out, talked to a mass of humanity. Basically, today with COVID, you got, you know, who do you know that's looking, hungry, and motivated, looking for something right now? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Because I promise you, and I've run across this more and more, there's tens of thousands, probably millions, but tens of thousands for sure, all over this country, probably hundreds of thousands of people that own small businesses right now, depending on the business that they're in. It's a challenge out there. You take like the hospitality industry, you take, you know, whether it's restaurants, hotels, anything to do with that, even people who service those industries. I don't care if it's rental cars. You think about it, there's so many things where people are looking over their shoulder. They put everything in a business and, you know, maybe put some money up and things like that, and they're not in a position to win at a high level. And so the challenge you got to accept is they're out there, but you got to go talk to those people. And it's sort of like, I know I'm supposed to wait to save this big question for the end, but I just can't resist. Art Williams, you know, sent out like the 38 letters to the football coaches, and one of them was the South Gwinnett High School, Bobby Johnson. And, you know, I'm a whole football coach, just started in the area, looking for people like make some part-time money. And nobody, not one person responded to Art's letters. And some of you can probably agree and, you know, understand, yeah, nobody's responded to anything I've done either. Okay, but what Art did is he went out and he saw the people face to face and quit taking the chicken's way out. I mean, the whole social media, if I can punch a button and all that stuff. I mean, what the company's doing is absolutely amazing, what they're putting in place. But that does not substitute the human touch. And you got to go out there and talk to people. Art went to South Gwinnett High School, goes to Bobby Johnson, and he says, well, you know, yeah, I know Art. I know I got the letter and all, but I don't have time for all that crap, blah, 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 like everybody says. But he's looking at him face to face. He goes, but you know what? I threw in a trash can, and the basketball coach, T. Faircloth, saw it, and I think he might be interested. Talks to T. Faircloth, who played basketball at Auburn with Bobby Buisson and Randall Walker and Bob Miller. A guy named Steve Tootin was down there, even giving RVP later. I mean, all these, this is probably 75, 80% of the company that came out of a letter that was laying in a trash can that would have gone, I don't know where they put them back in the day, probably in a dump or just burned them out in back of the school. But I mean, it was trash. And it is garbage, and it's nothing, everything else we do. But I tell you what, the face-to-face contact, go out there and follow up. It's so critical to follow up and embrace the repetition. And so if you're going to go out there, like we're talking about, the Dome is going to be in July. Have you got your plans made for that? You know, and I'm not saying, okay, well, you know, you got Keystone coming up. Well, I'll start with Keystone then. You got Keystone coming up in a few weeks. And you got to make a decision, what is your team going to look like out there? What's your team picture going to look like? Is it going to be you and one guy or 2 people or 3 people? I can't tell you the number of people who make $1 million a year right now that, you know, had 1 or 2 or 3 people in their picture at a team event at the Dome every other year. I can't tell you the number of people who started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. But if you don't have a plan, that you get a plan for Keystone, if you're still, like, well, you know, because right now, the 12th of November is a week from Thursday. That's 3 weeks away with the cheap airfares. Still get a cheap airfare for 3 weeks. November 12th is your cutoff for a Thursday flight to go to Keystone if you want to get the cheap flights. Well, what's your plan? Do you have a plan? Do you have your ticket? Have you registered? You know, you got to have that in this Sunday. Sunday's the cutoff. And I'm sure Darla and Rob will talk about that. But what's your plan? If you don't have a plan, I promise you ain't got anybody coming. Same thing for the Dome. You got to start thinking about your plan. We've already rented. So you got Thursday night hierarchy night. We've already rented our venue for what we're doing for Thursday night. We had that rented last year. I mean, it's every 2 years. You get the dates. As soon as we get the dates, we start putting things in place. And so if you're a leader, you got to make a decision. You're going to go out there and do it first, get the job done, have a plan, have a program. And when you have the plan and the program, people can follow it. If you're sitting there going, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know how much are the flights. You're doing all that crap with all your buddies. That ain't going to work. Which brings to another point. You got to take your phone and take the top 10 people that you've been talking to or listening to, even worse. And if you add up their income divided by 10, the average income they're making is probably what you're making. So you probably need to add a few people in there that are going to put you in a higher level of thinking. And I'm not saying to replace all 10 of them, but how about one or two or three? How about I start with one person that's got something going on, the one that's moving in the office. I know you're like intimidated, and maybe it's like, well, they're kind of cocky or whatever. Maybe they're stubborn. Maybe they got all these other attributes that aren't really attributes, But all I can tell you is winners find a way to get it done. Tom Brady, they had him last night. He wins another game. Now he's 5-2, I think. They're talking about, boy, look at the Patriots. They lose him. Here's a guy. He's like 40. I think the funny part of that was Patrick Mahomes, the wonder kid, most valuable player of the world. Super Bowl. They won the game down there in Miami, down there at Hard Rock Stadium. What a great kid, And they asked about COVID and playing the NFL season. And he goes, yeah, I don't think most of us are worried about it. I mean, Tom Brady, he's an old man. He probably ought to be worried. Already trashing the guy. He was still playing. But you got to choose. Tom Brady chose to go back and play one more time. And all you got to do is look up Tom Brady coming back for one more year and look at all the quotes on there. He's like, if you're standing there talking about a mountain, you can talk about the mountain and you can say, I can climb the mountain, but talking about it ain't going to do nothing. And that's where you got to be the leader. And you got to go like, we don't do a lot of office stuff right now, but how many people do you have on the Zoom? That's why we have the cup every week, the Rally Award. How many people do you have on? And I understand you might start with 2, 3, 5, or 10. I know Belden, before she left, won the last 4 in a row, over 100, I think, 80 for one and 150, whatever the numbers are, crazy numbers. But I mean, she was having, 14, 18, 23 on there, and now it's over 100. What you focus on grows. So do you have a game plan for the 4 quarters between now and December 1st? Do you have a game plan? What are your numbers going to look like? What is your activity going to look like? Are you going to embrace the repetition of seeing the people, making sure your presentation is simple and duplicatable, and be careful about adding all kinds of stuff to the chicken soup? Chicken soup's got to be simple. Boil the chickens, put the meat in, take the bones out, keep your broth, 3 or 4 recognizable vegetables, and not pasta, not rice, not potatoes, not all 3. Pick one, and don't say, well, I like mushrooms, I like cilantro, I like okra. What do you like okra? You like slimy okra or fried okra? Oh, I don't like slime. Well, it's going to be slimy. Put it in soup. You get a committee to make soup, it's going to be a sloppy mess, a stew that nobody wants to eat and nobody can duplicate. So you got to have the plan. You got to be strong in your decisiveness. We've been talking a lot on this show every week about making decisions. I made a decision, and 19 days later, I went from 1 by 700 premium as a district leader. Asking if my dad can co-sign a loan for me, 1 by 700. 12 months later, with a 30 by 30,000 replacement, move 300 miles, start over again, go to RVP 2 months later, 5 months in, my 5th month as an RVP, promoted my first 3. One's my brother, over $250,000 earner. You got Richard Shaw in there, Peggy Hightower, $1 million earner. My college roommate, Sid Jackson, came in. He was actually the second RVP. He quit, but left me Peggy Hightower. Good God Almighty! I mean, you got that hierarchy. Shaw, Hightower. I mean, that's amazing hierarchy. And the other one was a lady named Ina Collins, my 3rd RVP. I'm talking about 1 year from scratch, 1 by 700. 12 months later, with a replacement in there, Ina Collins is Bruce Kalk and Christian David, Tom DiGirolamo's over 700,000. One of the guys on the $1 million sheet. You got the Chavez's. Tad Repa's, Walter Charles, Darren Charles. That's my first 3 RVPs. My 5th month as an RVP. That happened in 12 months because I made a 19-day run. I don't know anybody in Primerica that's big. I'm talking about the big $1 million, $2 million, not $1 million income, $1 million premium, but $2 million premium hierarchies. I don't know anybody that got big that really took more than 2, 3, 4 years to get it done. But it starts with a decision. It starts with your intensity, your enthusiasm, you making the choice, you making the decision, and you going out and doing the work and embracing the repetition. You got to be passionate about the numbers, not about the individual people. Nick Saban, great recruiter, Alabama. If you don't like Alabama, whatever, you got to respect what the man's done. He's got it on a coffee table where he recruits guys. He brings them in for his presentation. Got the championship rings. Well, Primerica's got so much crap you can put on the coffee table. It doesn't matter. Art Williams said, you owe people an opportunity and an example. The opportunity speaks for itself. The examples are all around you. So if you're not really hitting it right now, that's where I took them to see Larry Weidel and Bob Turley and Bob Safford. I took people to show the examples. You got so many examples right now. It's crazy. But they said he sits across from that coffee table. You can Google it. Nick Saban recruiting. It talks about his recruiting interview. He's all of a sudden got the bounce. He's like the most intense, fired up person about the guy he's sitting in front of. Do you understand that the first of the year, Alabama puts about 250, 300 names on a board of people they want to go after all across the United States. They can only give out somewhere between 20 and 25 scholarships a year because it's governed by the NCAA, 85 max. They can give out 20, 25 new scholarships every year. They got 200 or 300 people on the board. And Nick Saban, all the people he goes through, more people tell him no than tell him yes. Nick Saban. And you get all gummed up because, oh, somebody told me no. They tell Nick Saban no. They tell Bill Belichick no. They tell, I mean, the original double-digit recruiter, Jesus Christ, 12. He got 12. And he recruited Judas. I mean, you probably ain't got no Judas on your team, okay? And then two of his guys kind of, left him at the middle of the night. It's like, I don't know who the guy is. Abandon him, number one guy. Well, that's what you got to go through the numbers. You got to understand, like Mike Sharp said at the convention last year, you don't, when you're out there, we don't develop people. Think, oh, if you just call me and I'll develop you. I'm develop because if I want to talk about taking credit for all the wonderful people in my hierarchy that I've developed, then I got to take responsibility for the people that didn't make it. I guess I underdeveloped them. I don't know. All I know is winners win, losers lose. People find a way to get it done. You show an example and opportunity. You get your 4-week game plan, 4 quarters. Where are you going to be by next Tuesday night? That's what's going to matter in your game plan. Where are you going to be? What are you going to tell your guys? Where are they supposed to be? If you don't have a plan to get that done, the next 24 hours, a conference call or something, a Zoom, whatever, about where you're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be, so they understand what the play is, you're probably going to get beat for November. And then set it up for December. 2021 is here. It's here. 2021, we're in place. Question is, are you in place? So really excited about our guest tonight. Bobby Peterman's a guy, I tell you what, I mean, he might have been on the crew to build the original home office in 1985 when we got out there over at Breckenridge, and it was the biggest home office. We're never going to need anything bigger than that. Stanley Buyer in 1982 at $200 million. That was all Williams Primerica we were ever going to need for the history of the company. Our payroll at the company this year for the field looks like it might hit $1 billion. $1 billion. They said 200 million, 20% of $1 billion was enough to run the whole thing and pay us. You think back to the old days. I watched Bobby go through every pace. I was just watching Art, talk, and what a thrill that is. And Bobby was here with Art, and whatever they asked him to do, he's done it. And been a guy who's taken every task and taken it seriously and run at full speed everywhere he's been. Then we had, the Citigroup, and that's sort of like we were occupied, like Europe got occupied by whatever. And I don't know what happened. We all kind of figured that out. That was a different run. But then John and Rick took over and put the fund back in fundamentals. We started growing again. And they got us out of Citi, which by itself, what they did, I mean, everybody, if you have got one share of stock, they saved the company, saved everything. I'm telling you, we were like that far from not being here. And so you got Art Williams, the founder, building it. You got John and Rick. And who knew Glenn Williams? But we'd known he'd been around forever. But Glenn was like a rabbit, taking a stick, a baton in a race, the 440 with 4 of them running it. And he took off like a rabbit, And the thing I was going to start off with Bobby on that is, John's my buddy. I talk to John every day. I was going to be down in Jacksonville with him this weekend. Not going to be able to get down there. But John, I knew John when he would probably make $30,000 a year driving his beat up old Volkswagen Rabbit back in the day, back in the 80s. And John's a guy that, after they got everything done and in place, he just soon go talk about Georgia football, is talking about growing recruiting, So when Glenn took over, what I want to start with Bobby with is it had to be like a shock to everybody's system. Who is this dude that all of a sudden, I don't know what 9 to 5, well, we got corporate over there and they work in the office and they're not in the field. I guarantee you it's the clients. Clients is a big deal. That's our crusade, everybody. Home office. But I'm telling you, these guys, and especially with Glenn, I don't know. I'd like to hear Bobby talk a little bit about that, but Glenn must have said, okay, we don't have 9 o'clock anymore. It starts at 7. Matter of fact, I might call you at 6. Matter of fact, I might call you on Sunday night. Talk about it's not a 9 to 5 culture, but how you guys over there, I know all your guys, and I know you, Bobby, personally, because you've been on, I look at the field advisory stuff, you're making calls at midnight, 9 p.m., something goes down. I don't know if you ever sleep. But talk a little bit about, what you guys do, how everybody's all in, just like the field.
Well, hey, Andy, thank you very much for having me on tonight. Darla, Rob, thank y'all for doing this. Hey, team, it's absolutely a 9 to 5 with Glenn. It's 9 days a week, 5 weeks in a month. All right, so that's the 9 to 5 with Glenn. So never forget that. But I tell you, everybody at the home office loves it. We love working with Glenn, and you can always remember and take to heart that everything Glenn does is for you guys. Everything Glenn does is for the field. Every thought that he has, of course, the shareholders also, but I'm telling you, he's got a place in his heart so special for the field that you cannot believe. So just remember that, Andy. And I was actually, when I started in 1984, I started over at North Lake behind Bennigan's. At North Lake Parkway. I was in the move coming out here. We packed up all night, moved to Breckenridge, and we thought that was the actual palace, Andy. And when we left it, we were like, please get us out of this place as quick as we can before it falls down around us. And we now have the best home office of probably any insurance company in America. And we're very proud of that, Andy. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't properly introduce you, Chief Marketing Officer, Executive Vice President. He's the guy that, there's Glenn Williams. If you ever see the two of them in the office together, they're together. And Bobby's the guy. And unfortunately, when it comes down to getting the job done, somebody's got to run the ball. It's 4th and 1. Somebody's got to go out there and, do the dirty work. And I'm not saying Glenn will do anything. Don't get me wrong about that. But Bobby's the guy that 4th and 1, he's the guy, hitting that hole and going for it, busting his head, busting the gut. He's right in there with him. And I was thinking about back in the day, we're a company, we couldn't even draft a checking account, we'd get somebody to get a policy and don't draft the account. And then we draft 6 months worth all at once. That was a real charm. And the industry was coming at us left and right. And, you guys were all teamed up and we just like plugging up holes in a dam, putting things in place. And talk about, maybe you have a story or two. Debbie Miller tells one about how she went from one department in there and she was handling like client services. And she got the 800 number. And then she went like a week later to, field issues that had happened. So a week later, she handles the field issues. And some guy goes, some dumbass over at client services screwed it and basically described what Debbie did, a week before, because it was like, you're over here in one office over there, you got a hat for over this. But anything you could think of some of the challenges. Bo said one time we didn't get paid because a snake got into the satellite dish or some crap, and we bought a hook, line, and sinker, Yeah, okay, well, they get that snake part out of there and we'll get paid a couple of weeks, And talk about some of that stuff. The fountain blew where the water came down the wall.
Yeah, so absolutely, Andy. We have you and I and the team could sit around and talk about stories all day long. I was over new business, which was where the applications came in back in the day, back in the 80s. And if you remember all those heavy volumes of applications that we had come in, think about it. Those came in with the check stapled to the application. And we had people that sat there and removed the staples and literally had piles of staples on their desk that were, this high. And you can imagine at the end of the day, we had all these apps and all these checks, and you had to take those things every single night and lock them up in this big room every single night. So, we didn't have the automated drafting. We didn't have the automated, IBA or Life app. It was all manual. Remember that you used to have the photocopies with the PIAs, this thick that had to come in with it. We had teams that actually read through every single one of those, Andy, every single one. And it was incredible that we got anything processed. And then you had a group that sat there every single day, and all they did every single day was take the policies and stick Art's Saturday Evening Post in there in the policy, close it up and mail it out, close it up and mail it out, close it up and mail it out. That's all they did all day long with thousands and thousands and thousands of policies. So.
Yeah, and another story, old Tom Swift, he had taken a hatchback full of checks, and he was taking them over to, I guess, Ralph Crossland, Rusty's dad.
Rusty,
and said,
yeah.
they get the distribution and mail them out, because now you get paid 5, sometimes 6 days a week at a checking account in 3 days. And a lot of our guys are like, I've heard it sail on Monday and my check wasn't in there on Thursday. You're having a heart attack. Swift was taking the checks over to get them mailed out, and the hatch on the back of the car opened up on 285 on the interstate. And the checks, my Millico checks all over the highway.
Tom had a stream of checks flowing out the back of his car, that you get arrested for today for polluting, but yeah, he had all of our agents' checks flowing out of the back of his car. So that was an interesting time. And I remember, I'll say a name from the past, but I remember Sidney Ogletree. We had at month end, somebody brought about 150 apps in, and somehow those apps, instead of getting locked up in that room I was just telling you about, somehow those apps, Andy, actually ended up in a dumpster. Sydney actually jumped in the dumpster and was pulling out the apps. Okay. So, just fun stuff that we had going on back then. And it's always fun. So.
Yeah, old Sydney, and I think she became Art Williams' sister-in-law. So Art Williams' sister-in-law diving in. Everybody's all in to go get the stuff done. Another thing is everything the competition threw at us. They try to make all our PIAs, all our comparisons. They try to make it harder or more difficult. And every single time, you guys in there with just like shoestrings and bubble gum and a dadgum safety pin over here. Anybody got a bobby pin? I think that's almost like Apollo 13 every day over there, trying to keep this thing together. And they're coming at us. But talk a little bit about how you guys embraced that, and we ended up over the years, especially now, all that crap, all that did was ended up making us stronger than the entire industry.
Hey, it's just like a muscle, Andy. They kept exercising our resiliency, and every time they did it, we just got stronger and stronger and stronger. Whether it was, back in the day, it was National Life Underwriters, they're NAIFA now, but what they did, they threw up barriers because they saw that we were doing things that they couldn't do. They saw that we were doing things that they weren't capable of doing, and all the way through the 80s and 90s and even into the 2000s, even as recently as 5 years ago, they were still trying to throw up some barriers in the testing arena. But all through our history, we have had that resiliency. Back when we were A.L. Williams, into Primerica and into the modern day, we've had that resiliency that no one could defeat. And I tell you, Andy, that actually prepared us for what happened in March of this year. That actually prepared this company for what happened in March of this year. Had we not gone through all those battles, all that turmoil over the years, we wouldn't have been the company that dominated in March of 2020 when the pandemic hit, when the world really changed. The world kind of stopped that in March and changed total course. And Primerica was actually ready. Primerica was the best suited company, both on the insurance side and the investment side for COVID. We were ready. We were prepared. And on a dime, Glenn Williams turned this thing and had it ready for the field. So I can't be prouder of what the field did or what the home office did.
Yep, and that was years and years of preparation and being in place. And when it came time, sort of like the Wally Pitt took a day off, and a guy named Lou Gehrig came in and took his place. A guy named Drew Bledsoe had a shoulder injury, and a guy picked 199th in the draft, Tom Brady. He comes in and wins six Super Bowls. And as John Addison always said, like Churchill, there comes a moment in every person's life where, you got that crossroads, you got that choice where everything in your whole life was just geared up for that moment. And that's exactly what happened with Primerica in March, And one other thing I'd like to kind of hit on too is we have an opportunity, and I tell people all the time, there's a great movie, Rudy. It's inspirational. Rudy, he took 3 years to get into Notre Dame. He finally gets in there, and he's a walk-on, and all the crap he went through to get there, too short, too small, all this stuff. And then, as a walk-on, he gets in. Finally, he gets in and run on the field, gets in for the last 2 or 3 plays against a game against Georgia Tech that Notre Dame had already won. And it's a great story, and I feel good. But in 1975, that's the year that they came out. That's when I went to college. That was my first year of college, same time Rudy was going in 1975. And there was also a guy on that roster named Joe Montana. And I tell kids on a playground today, they'd say, I want to be LeBron James. They wouldn't say, I want to be the guy that plays over in Europe somewhere. Nobody would say, I want to be the guy that walks on and gets the crap beat out of me. And my point with that is at Primerica, and I'm talking about everybody we're looking at right now, or they're just looking at us, I guess. But you think about that. If you had a choice, there's no kid on the playground say, I want to get the crap beat out of me and maybe play 2 or 3 plays. They'd want to be Joe Montana. They'd want to be Michael Jordan. And at Primerica, you can be that person. I mean, you look at, the people we've got that come in, they're making a million setting records. But if you can be that person, why wouldn't you go for SNSD, obviously district, division, regional, RVP, SVP, NSD? SNSD is where all the stock is. That's where all the comp is. Highest contract out there, SNSD, and then you double it and you're Circle of Champions. If you have the choice, why not go the distribution route and make a decision to build a business right out of the gate? So maybe address that a little bit.
No, that's good, Andy. And so here's what I think, Andy. After seeing all the things I've seen over the 36 years that I've been here, it's very, very important for you. You actually said it earlier. You got to take action. As art. I mean, that art. That, Darla's right. That was one of Art's, most famous speeches, probably one of his best. And if that doesn't get your butt burned and your woods wet, and it's so crazy to see people come in and sit on the sidelines, Andy. If Rudy would have been given the chance to get on that field at any time, he would have got on that field, Andy. And the thing about it, at Primerica, you have a chance all the time to be on the field. You don't have to sit on the bench. It's up to you. It's the one company that I've ever studied, that I've ever seen, that it's totally up to you whether you want to be on the field, if you want to be a starter, if you want to be playing, if you want to be scoring points, if you want to have the ball. So many times, Andy, I always wanted to be a running back, but I was too fat and too slow to be a running back, so I was always on the line or, nose man or something. And I wanted to be a running back. I could be a running back at Primerica. I could get the ball and run with it. That's not possible in other venues. It's possible here. And I tell you, when you come on, you need to get that RVP contract. I know for a lot of people, maybe even listening, that seems like a far-fetched idea. It's not. You can reach that RVP contract, get that RVP contract. Then you need to be looking at that SVP and that SVP Power Builder bonus, Andy. That thing is so powerful. That 7.5% means so much. And you get that SVP and that Power Builder, and then you keep working up, keep working up, get the NSD. And the great Andy Young's the one. I'm going to give you credit here, Andy, because credit's due. The great Andy Young is the one that actually put the idea in Glenn's head about the Circle of Champions. He came to us one day and said, "Hey, I want to have something out there to recognize people for hitting double SNSD. And if you actually look at the Circle of Champions, that's really what it is. It boils down to you doubling what an SNSD does. And again, I know a lot of y'all are thinking, well, I could never reach that. I could never get there, but you can. You can do it. I've seen so many people that started out really slow and that gained that momentum and that got something else in their heart, Andy. They actually got something in their heart that changed them. And before long they were moving. I had Rick Susie actually write me yesterday about a person that, over $500,000 in 2 years. I mean, that just doesn't happen anywhere else but Primerica. So it's very important, whether you started 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you can actually, Andy Young, 19 days, changed his life in 19 days. How many of us could start right now, the position we're at, and change our life in 19 days? My gosh, man, that got me pumped up when you heard between Art and you, Andy. I'm ready to put the pads on and get started.
Absolutely. And one last thing, Bob, before we go, looking at the industry, looking at the world, there's so much, there's divisiveness and all the crap that goes on. And, you play football, I play football. We're all a team. And you block a guy. It's 11-11. I can't worry about the guy next to me, whatever. I got to go do my job. And if everybody does their job, we got this thing down. And Primerica's always been a company, even the code numbers, like Peggy Hightower. I spent some time with her yesterday up here in Delaware, and that gum, she was, looking at buying another place, and she's got a bunch of money set aside. And she says, K3922, that's her number. It doesn't know if, what she, race, gender. It's a number, and that's what we build, and that's what we own here. And Rob started the program talking about little Janie, Janie Mae, brand new baby, grandbaby for me. She got more hair than little Andy does. She got a lot more hair than Big Andy and Bobby Peterman, a few of us too. But a lot of the industry over the years, because they didn't reinvent themselves, just like so many industries that you can study for the last 150 years, they just got caught flat-footed. And think about this. And I'm be a little controversial, but stale, pale, and male. So I'm talking about me and you too, Bobby. But I mean, they just sat there with their old stodgy way of doing crap. And look, just address, because I know the technology. Julie Seaman did a great job talking about that on one of the things we saw, and did a Zoom call too. And it was like, you look at that, and you're involved in all that stuff from a technological standpoint, primarily, from a diversity standpoint, there is no excuse why we don't dominate and take over this industry. Probably in the next, I say 10 years, but it ought to be 3 to 5 years, because we are positioned better than any company, I believe, in the world with what we do to get that done. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely, Andy. And you look at all the things that we're doing, Andy, and they're actually for the field. I mean, everything that we're doing is actually for the field. And when I look back over the reasons that I've stayed here 36 years, when I started, Andy, just like many in the field, I actually started part-time at Northlake. I started part-time just thinking this was a side thing that I was going to do until I got a real job. And what kept me around for 36 years is I fell in love with this place. I fell in love with it for several reasons. I actually, met my wife here back in 1989. We've been married for 30 years. So that was a great reason. The second thing, Andy, is that we do what's right. We actually help people every single day. People look for careers to help people, and we've got something that helps people every day. And the other reason, Andy, is that we don't care what you look like. We don't care, as you said, we don't care, background, color, demographic, ethnicity, religion. We don't care. Right now, in America, one of the most divisive things that's ever occurred in America is happening right now, as everybody knows, with the election. Right now, as we're talking, Primerica is actually a company that actually unifies people. We actually bring people together. We actually take folks from all different walks of life, and we have one goal, one vision, one thing that we're working on together. And that's what makes us so daggum special. That's what really makes us special. And just layering onto that, the things that you mentioned, Andy, the things that Julie talked about yesterday, with Rep Marketing Center, almost 3 million emails have been sent out through Rep Marketing Center with the industry high open rate that where individuals are actually looking at those things and reading those emails that we're sending out. Rep Marketing Center, My Primerica is coming down the pipeline, where we're actually building a portal where your clients can connect to you and connect to their information all in one, forming that total bond between the representative and the client's information, and actually allowing them to help understand their information as clear a picture as they possibly can. Again, always keeping the representative in the forefront. So My Primerica, all the digital technology that we have right now, the changes that we're doing on the IBA, the changes that we're doing on the front end with our new next gen product, our life product. Glenn and I and Julie were just meeting on that before this meeting, and some great things that fundamentally are going to keep us for the next 40 years. We're laying a foundation right now, Andy, that's going to take us into the next 40 years. We laid some great foundations in the 80s and 90s, but we're laying some right now that are going to take us into the next 40 years. That the Robs and the Amy's and all the folks that'll be around when you and I aren't, they're going to be happy that we did this, happy that we laid these things out for them, and happy that we prepared the company for that growth.
Well, Bobby, we got about between the Zoom and separate. I don't understand how this works, but we got YouTube people on there, 600-700 people. Then there's another like 800 people, Zoom in. We add them all up, and then the people that call in with their numbers, like they're talking about for the thing, we're sitting at 1,500. I'm so happy that our train every week that the championship season, because it ain't over. The championship season that Primerica is in right now, the greatest championship run in the history of a 43-year-old company, about to be 44 years, the greatest run that they've got to finally see the face of a guy who's got his footprints, fingerprints. There's not a dadgum thing we've done, a play we've run, anything we've done to be part of this championship run that Bobby Peterman's not a part of. And I appreciate you coming on tonight so they can see the face with the name. They see you, son, a little bit better, and we're looking forward to seeing your face a whole lot more on the big screen everywhere. All right, we appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for everything, Bob.
Hey, Andy, thanks. And just let me say one more thing before I leave. I want to tell y'all something, because y'all don't realize, we talk at the home office, and one thing we always say about the great Andy Young, he is the most unselfish Primerican we have. All right, he gives to. It doesn't matter what hierarchy you're in. I mean, Andy is going to do the right thing. And if you're plugging in tonight for the first time or the 500th time, you're at the right place. And Andy, I want to personally thank you for what you've done for this company and the leadership that you provided for this company. So thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you. Look forward to many more months and years ahead, buddy. Take care.
All right,
have a good evening. Thank you. Hey, let's toss over to our Keystone video. We got a big convention coming up, guys. I think we're close to 1,000 people signed up. So let's take a look at that.
Doesn't matter what you think about in this business, it's all going to take you back to double-digit recruiting. You've got to have a game plan that's focused on growth.
Only in Keystone, baby!
If you're not here, you're missing out.
Because if you get good at talking to people about Primerica, all the other things will follow.
And it wasn't about income, but it was about outcomes.
What are you doing with this opportunity?
Y'all want more?
We decided
We want more!
Hey everybody, the road to SNSD goes through Winston-Salem, but it makes a huge stop here in Keystone, Colorado. You cannot miss another trip. It is crucial for you to build a huge, huge business.
This is the place, this is the time, and you're the one.
What a time it is to be in Primerica, to be in this atmosphere, to listen to Gus and Johanna one-on-one, what you need to hear, what you need to know to build your business big.
Where else can you go and rub shoulders and pick the brains of multiple million-dollar earners and millionaires, learn how to come and build a business, leave a legacy behind for generations to come?
And where is that?
Only in Keystone, baby!
This is a red car event. This is for the studs. This ain't for the GP, the general population.
It's great. You have to be around these people.
If you want to build a big team, you got to be in events like this.
SNSD Factory!
That's awesome.
Love Keystone.
I'm so excited. Hey, Matt, can we take the
I saw Matt with
social
his finger
wall?
on the mute button because I couldn't help but chant along with some of the
Really?
pieces.
We know the words.
Yeah.
Can you show the social wall for a second?
Oh, yeah. We just had some people send in some
Look at all
Keystone
the
stuff.
Keystone
there's even more that's
stuff.
shown up since last time I looked.
That is
Yeah, so
awesome.
You saw, I'm kind of,
Kind of what?
I'm stepping ahead just like Andy
Oh.
did. But yeah, you see Sherry Johnson got
Yeah.
promoted to RVP.
Yeah,
Saw
we're gonna
her on
announce
the
her in just a
video that just
minute.
played. So
Yep.
yeah, congratulations on that.
No
And
doubt.
Man, this is
Here comes some more. from
Keystone is
different
going to be
years.
it's going to be crazy this year. I definitely drink water.
Oh yes.
Some people,
Yes.
take baby aspirin every day.
Really?
Yeah,
I guess it would
that
work the
helps.
same. Right?
There's some other supplements like altitude adjustment.
Altitude
or something.
adjustments,
Yeah,
my
take
personal
like a
favorite.
week before you start
We
getting
buy-
up there.
In fact, I'm going to order a whole case, and we
You
all
can also
take
buy just
it.
cans of oxygen. That's
well,
always like my emergency.
Yeah. Backup.
Water.
Water.
Yep.
So drink lots of water, and then it's going to be awesome, right? It's going to even be better than what we've done before. We're like thinking outside the box. You're going to have great opportunities to build a relationship. It's been a clean slate. It's been a clean slate a lot, right? But it's going to be great. We're going to be following the Colorado guidelines, so everybody will be safe according to what Colorado is set up. It's going to be awesome. You're going to get to meet people from everywhere in the country, basically. And come prepared for the weather, right? I've watched people come in the past, and they come with their tennis shoes and their kind of light coat, especially if they're from Florida.
Yeah.
It's slippery, it's cold, it's wet, right? So if you're not familiar with snow and cold, you can call me. Most of you have my phone number, but email me at tickets@nightglass.com. I'll call you and coach you. I grew up in Michigan. I know all about it.
Yeah.
So,
you
and
can
then
get around. You don't have to get a fancy pair of boots.
You do
fancy pair of
not.
socks, but you can get like those little chemical hand warmers. They got
Yep,
those that like
get
go
some
down
of
to your
those.
toes.
Yep.
Those are. a
But
real
come
good
prepared to
trick.
be
Yeah.
outside, right? It's
Yeah.
what?
It's real ass winter.
Real
It's
ass
real
winter.
ass winter, as my husband says, so southernly. So, and did I say drink water? It is your friend. You should be started now, right? At least a month before we go, twice as much as what you're used to drinking.
Yep.
So, you
Like the
have,
deadline, yeah.
right, Matt, if you'll put the next graphic up, you've got the rest of this week to buy tickets, right? So the actual meeting is December 3 through 6. Like Andy loves to say, it's like being in a snow globe. Sometimes it is exactly like being in a snow globe. But we are cutting off tickets. COVID kind of makes it that's the smart thing for us to do. So the ticket deadline is going to be November 8th at midnight. We will not be doing any sales on site at all. No cash sales, no nothing, okay? If after November 8th that you want to buy a ticket or you've got a ticket that you want to sell, I imagine that our Facebook page would be a good place to do that, wouldn't you think?
I think, we're going to go to the Facebook page. There might be people have some spares or, other people out there looking for some spares. So that's probably the best way, or, maybe use the hashtag SNSD Factory.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
You're
And I forgot my applause for Bobby, too.
I know, you're like
slacking.
He was great.
Been gone. Oh, yeah.
He was great. I enjoyed that. I'm glad I had a chance to meet him. I think that's the first time I met him. So it was very fun. Anyways, Keystone. It's going to be great. It's going to be incredible. Wear appropriate clothing, drink lots of water, get your ticket before November the 8th.
Yep.
Right? Basically, when we're going to start looking at recognition, November 6th is actually the numbers should be final then. We'll be pulling all that together and we'll be good to go.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be fun VIP stuff, right?
I'll be sending, yes, go ahead, say
jackets, lanyards.
some gatherings.
Some exclusive little gatherings.
Well, yeah, mingling.
I said little gatherings.
Mingling, little gatherings, mingling kind of things. You want to run the qualifications?
So if you want to get VIP, so we're
you're out
running
of
it through the
time,
year,
right?
right? So you said cutting it off November 4th, right?
Well,
But-
no, that was
sorry, it's
month-end
November
October.
6th.
Month,
Okay, we pull the numbers though.
Yeah, we pull the numbers
report.
down then.
But yeah, I know it's like it was 10 months. Anyway, yeah, RVP 175 recruits over 10 months, and if you're below RVP, below RVP is 175. If you're an RVP, it's 250.
Right.
I feel like I need to say it again since I butchered it so bad the first time.
Let's try her again.
10 months, January through October. If you're below an RVP, you need to have 175 recruits to be a VIP. If you're RVP or above, you need 250 recruits.
You're a sleepified, deprived new dad.
Yeah, he's got new daddy issues. All right, we are going
Trish,
to,
you wanna
well,
come
now
on
I'm going to do promotions real quick.
Oh, hold up.
So, you guys, I was like frantically getting these printed out in the last segment. We got lots of them. Laura Langston is promoting Dexter David to district. Ron and Tammy Lewis are promoting Kirsty Bell to district. And
Josue Bellaris.
is promoting.
Rochelle Mullery.
And
Ludano Mallory.
We're sorry. We're sorry. We're doing our best.
I committed to it on the first Mallory, and the
I
second
know.
one,
It
I'm
was
like,
like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Both of those have been promoted to district. Congratulations. Those are the building. That's it.
Yep.
You've got that figured out. All you have to do is do it over and over again, right? Desiree Ledan.
Shaquille Williams.
Shaquille Williams being promoted to district. Oh, twice. Sean T. Walker promoted the following 2 people to district. Andrea Shelton and Frank B. Jones Jr. And then Ezell Parker II promoted Shandiz Haygood. Congratulations to all the district promotions.
Yep.
Applause.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
All right. But drum roll, please.
Oh, sorry.
Not a laugh track. All right, drum roll, please. Sean T. Walker is promoting Sherry Johnson this week to RVP.
Awesome.
Woohoo! Good job, Sherry. And Peggy and Jaron King are promoting Dina and Iggy Malika to RVP. They sent us a picture.
Where's that picture? I know.
Well,
I
it was
put it on the
just
wall.
there.
There it is.
It is.
Yeah,
There
their
it is.
Halloween party they had.
Yeah, that explains it. Okay. Congratulations to them as well. You guys are on your way. 2 in 1 week. That was nice. Right? All right. Now Trish.
Oh, now I'm typing.
Now, come. You've got to quit typing and join the rest of us.
Oh, yeah, I got to type up the top teams.
Well, she's going to read some people first, so
Okay.
you'll have time to
Give me
type.
time. Vamp.
Grab your mic.
Thank you. Boy, we're all out of
I
sorts
know.
today. It's contagious, Rob.
So you're going to read who's participated to this point.
Correct.
And then you are going to pick your top teams.
All right. So I've jacked with my contacts. I can't see. So we're going to start just at the top. Last name of RVPs. Y'all, there are 64 of you reporting. So we've got Price, Whitmere, Madkins, Nadal, Goodman, Stewart, Marmolejo. Congratulations on your wedding. Bobby Cheeks, Luzinaris, Scott, Lorifice, Levy, Bynum, Roach, Lane, Langston, Trin, Schmidt Sr., Marshall, Red, Malone, Crenshaw, Nguyen, Ledan, Muse, Willie Browse, Rodriguez, Ray Rodriguez, Richmond, Gupta, Morrow, Plate, Bellarice, Shakar, Snavely, Price, Horner, Hall, Berryman, Shaw, Costanzas, Espinosa. You're going to make me, because you're standing here, I'm going to mess it up. Evelyn, Tejada,
There you go.
Ottinger, Thomas, Janke, Lane, Vince Lane, Doris Rodriguez, Peel, Lewis, Robinson, Walker, Searcy, Sheridan, King, Parker II, Risby, Hayes, Kofer, Florinord, Charles, Julian, Catan, and Rubio.
Wow, that is impressive.
I know. Very nice. Very, very nice. I know y'all think I'm a little crazy, but once you report it in and then you report back in and you bump your number up, I just love going back and having to bump that number up. So it's,
Does that make you happy?
it does. It makes me very happy. So, all right. So we're going to go, what are we doing? Top 4?
I don't know.
Top 4.
I was just getting working
You were
ahead.
getting prepped.
I think you do top 4.
Top 4. Okay, so Walter Charles reports in with 60. Daryl Julian is reporting in with 62. David and Garcia Catan, you're reporting in with 63. And then our overachiever, Belda Rubio, is reporting in with 130. So we want the RVP base shops of Walter Charles, Daryl Julian, David and Garcia Catan, and Belda Rubio. So those 4 RVPs, and we'll start counting.
There you go. Take it with you.
Got it
You'll
with
need
me.
it again.
Yep.
All right. There we go.
So
Did we
flip to the
put
graphic.
graphic up there, Matt, from Rob's computer?
No, he just had that one. I was going to say the number.
Sorry.
But.
To the base shops then.
Yep. So now, if you're in those 4 top base shops we just showed, and we'll show them just after this as well, we need you to text in that same number that the RVPs were using, 404-465-1830. That's 404-465-1830. Say it again. Save that into your phone. Tell us who your RVP is, and tell us your solution number. If you don't have a solution number, just say guest. That's the best way to do it. And then if you could just run to my computer one more time, just so they know which base shops we're counting right now.
Only these
these 4 base shops
right
we
now.
want you to report in. Walter Charles, David Catan, Bel DeRubio, Daryl Julian. That's who we want to hear from.
All right,
let us
you guys
know how many
have
you really
at
got
it.
on.
You're going to have to be quick, right?
Yeah, real quick.
Real quick. Tricia's counting. Claudia's helping her out in the back. So we're going to move on to Andy, talk more about Andy's system, right? We did the follow-up last week. And like I said early in the show, you guys sent some questions. And a few of them are going to be answered with Wes, Wes, the other guy. Wes, like
me with a tan.
Yeah, and shorter, a little bit shorter. But he talked about how he has duplicated Andy's system exactly. And Rob and I had him on to talk to our team on Sunday night, and we were both like, that was fascinating.
Oh, it was awesome.
Right? Because he talked about the mentality of it and how he had to switch his thinking. So we invited him on tonight to talk about it, and he'll answer some of the questions that you guys had about the presentation and why Andy uses the type of presentation that he uses. So welcome, Wes.
Hello. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much.
Good. Have at it. Tell us what you told us on Sunday.
Absolutely. Well, I remember Andy Young was his first $1 million earner that I sat down with ever. I don't even think I was a district yet, maybe just gotten there. But when I heard his message, it was so simple that, even someone like me could understand it. And his thing was, you need more people. No matter what problems you've gone through, you're not making enough money, your people's not listening to you, you need your promotion, you need more people. And it's something that I could buy off on pretty quickly. And so I've always remembered him. And then when he talked about getting out the cold market, he did 700 names in 19 days. I've listened to his CD when it came down to you win your Super Bowl. He did that at the convention. And he talked about Terrell Owens at that time, who came back from a leg injury because it was his shot. And I listened to that over and over as I prospected. So Andy Young has had a huge impact on me. I got a chance to come down to the Get Bigger, Go Home coach school with my coach. And I told my coach I would pay to come back to this environment because of Andy Young's environment and his message. And I did. I moved, right? I moved completely, totally to be under his tutelage. I learned that word 2 weeks ago. Don't ask me to spell it. So to be coached under his tutelage, so I can be just like him. Now, it was a struggle. It definitely was a struggle early on. I came here and the mess is so simple that you can't understand that it's that simple. I think the human mind tries to complicate everything, and he has a very, very simple understanding. So what I did was, I was like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do Andy's 50%, and I'm gonna do what I was doing 50%. Yeah, it didn't really work out too well. Then I'm like, all right, no problem. I'm gonna do Andy 80%. Then I'm gonna do what I was doing 20%. Once again, didn't work out too, floundered around. And it's not until we committed 100% to running Andy's play that things started taking off. And what's his play? Here's what his play is. It's buying off on large numbers of people. That's his play. What do I mean by that? So Andy has a simple presentation. It is 2 pages. That's it. You remember my floundering was, I was like, all right, no problem. I had the 6-page presentation that we used to do. Then I'm like, I'm going to do Andy's presentation. But then I had like Bob and Susan on there and all that. And I was like, I couldn't give it up. Right. And then finally I'm like, the man promoted 22 RVPs since the IPO. Nobody else has done that. Wes, just listen and do it. You moved over here for that. Just listen. So I said, all right, you know what? 2-page presentation, just like Andy. And then so I started doing that. It's 18 minutes. His presentation is 18 minutes, nothing else. And at the end, here's what's going to end up happening. You're going to find out either one, they're interested in the products and services based on what they see here, or the part-time opportunity where they can come make some additional income, 5 to 10 hours a week, work a week, skip a week, whatever. And then you got the brokerage opportunity where through 5 or 10 people you know and their referrals, we can build 25 to 40 license agents for you. Most of them are part-time. They can serve 30 clients a month, which is less than one a person. That'll pay 6 figures. That's over $155,000 a year. So that's the first thought after this 18-minute presentation. The second thing is, all right, it's not for them. But what you can do is you can refer people, whatever. You get the license, right? Refer people. We'll sit down with them, do business with them, put your license on there. You get paid. You didn't have to be there. And the third thing is the presentation is over. It wasn't that long, 18 minutes. And then you kind of sit there and wait to see what happens. And then a lot of people say, well, all right, great. Now, do you do the same presentation with a KTA as you do in an interview? In Andy's world, it's all the same thing. Every interview is a recruiting interview, right? It doesn't matter. And they're like, how do you make a sale? That was my struggle early on. True story. I've probably taken Andy Young to lunch 5 to 6 different times, not including the little side meetings that I'll catch him. And like, so Andy, like for real though, how does the sale happen? Because I used to bring up to Andy, hey, the F&A, the F&A, right? He said, what you call me? I'm like, no, the F&A, you remember that? And then, he's like, I'm like, how do you make the sale? He's like, don't they need to go to district? I'm like, yeah, but what about the F&A? He's like, don't they need to go to district? And I'm like, my goodness. And then so I started thinking about it, and then boom, the 4-point game plan comes up. What's the 4-point game plan? Number one, you recruit to recruit. You recruit to build. Because here's the thing, just like Andy was talking about, like Nick Saban, he talked about he was a terrible coach. The one thing you won't do is out-recruit me. Andy Young recruits to recruit because you recruit to build. And then everyone comes to a meeting. You need people at the meeting. Andy says, look, there's the people I work with, there's three things about them. It's 3 things. Number one, they put me in front of hot market people. Number 2, they come to every meeting, keyword, every meeting. And number 3, they bring people to the meetings. If it's not that person, here's what Andy says, God bless you. I'm gonna invite him to training, no problem. But look, that's not the person I can work with. Now, he doesn't physically say that to the person, but you make a mental note. I gotta find people that want to win right now. So everyone has to come to the meeting. That's the part number 2 of 4-point game plan. Number 3, everyone gets their policy. Now, you think, how do sales happen? Well, if they're in qualified market, you're recruiting people and they believe in what we do, they get the policy. Most of the clients we get here are teammates buying their own policy. See, that's the 4-point game. And number 4, everyone races to district. See, everyone's going after a promotion. So all that means is you're not running through people's markets. They're going after something. And that's the Andy Young system. So he has something, which is another part of his system, 60 districts in 18 months. He did 1 district a month, so 18 direct districts, build 42 through them at 60 districts. And he's like, as a result, that's what 80 RVPs came in. He's like, look, if you promote 1 direct district a month for 12 months, that's 50,000 extra a year that you make. You do 2 direct districts extra a month. That is 100,000 a year that you make. So, and once again, people's like, okay, Andy, so what about this? All right, so the follow-up, talk to me about the follow-up. And then Andy says, all right, well, Cole, we do the goals and dreams and we go over the compensation and then we go over setting up appointments. Okay, setting appointments. Andy, do you make calls for them? Andy looks at you like, no, why would I do that? You telling me that someone can't get in front of their mama? It's their best friend, their mama. So the thing about that is Andy got it down to a science. Like, if they can't set appointments, he's like, once again, God bless you. But I got to find somebody who can get me in front of hot, warm market people, right? That's rule number 1 of the people he works with. So ultimately what Andy does, Darla, is he's bought off on the numbers. If you don't want to do anything, that's okay. He's not mad at you. He's going to ask you, how's the dog? How's the family? How's the surgery on the dog, right? And then you're good. And then he's going to move on to find people. And the truth is I met Peggy and Jaron when they said, we knew our job was to put people in front of Andy Young. As a result, he recruited 150 to 180 people in the 8-month period. There are SVPs, over 300,000, just promoted their third RVP. And Andy Young did not make a single phone call for these people. So what that means, it works if we decide to commit 100%. So, Darla, so those are some of the things that I've learned working with Andy and his simplified system. And then one more thing you asked me, I don't know if you're going to ask me, but I remember, like, does he sell the part-time or the big vision, right? I knew and that's something we talked about.
Right.
So both, you know, Andy Young's presentation is meant to throw out the net from the minnows to the well. So you're going to hear what you're going to hear. That's what the presentation is all about. If someone's looking for part-time, they're not listening for 6 figures. It's in there. He's going to say, hey, look, you can work 5 to 10 hours a week, work a week, skip a week. You don't have to be tied down to a weekly or monthly schedule. There's no quotas to meet here. So you'll hear that. Or 6 figures. Look, through 5 or 10 people in their referrals, we can build 25 to 40 licensed agents for you. Most of them are part-time. That's 30 clients coming in. That's less than 1 a person. That pays a 6-figure income. Andy says, if someone doesn't know what 6-figure income is, they didn't hear what you just said, right? You know, so the truth is, you don't have to try to tailor it or fix. The presentation is meant, it's a wide net, and it's meant to catch everybody. And then as a result, Darla, here's what ended up happening when we fully bought off on the system. Number one, we went over 100 recruits. The first time I had 2 direct legs to me, outside of the people I already had, brand new people within 60 days, double-digit recruit, both of them. I've never had that happen when I was making calls for people. I mean, I've had people, you know, get to 8 recruits. That's the most I've ever had. But with Andy's system, I had 2 separate people, brand new, double digit within 60 days, 30, 60 days. I didn't make a single call for him. We have a new lady about to go district right now. She sets all the appointments. She'll be district in the next couple of days. So that's Andy's system. Then we went over 100,000. Why, you know, you get the recruiting up, you get the money, you know, and then not only that, we promoted an RVP. We've been averaging over 50 recruits for the whole year. The goal was 500 recruits before October month end, right? For Keystone and all that. And we hit that. And the truth is, because of averaging 50 recruits, because Andy says you need 50 recruits to promote our RVPs. You know, we'll be promoting another RVP in Keystone, but that's only because of the 50 recruits. He said, you gotta average that with the system. 3 direct double-digit recruiting legs. So, I mean, I just spilled everything out. I spilled it out, Darla, so.
No, that was it. That's exactly what you did for us on Sunday. And it was like, everybody needs to hear this, right?
Leave something for Andy. Come on, Wes.
Well, I was going to say, like, I know you're saying what Andy said, and a lot of people are out there saying, but it's all the same thing, and that's the point. It is all the same thing, right? It's embrace the repetition. That's the way he's been doing it. It's highly successful, and then we all just need to follow.
Well, it's great to have the perspective of somebody who's doing it a different way, kind of
who
half
had
in,
to
half
change
out.
his mind, right? That was what I was most interested in. Like, he had to change how he was thinking and have faith.
Yep.
Right, that it would work for him just like it worked for Andy, and it did. Thank you, Wes. That was great. Hey, I wanted to real quick, if I figure out what I did with them. Well, I'll do it when we come back to us.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So let's run the number one more time
yeah.
for the rally.
Oh,
so
here it is.
if you've got if you're in one of the 4 base shops, which are the Walter Charles, David Catan, Bel DeRubio, or Daryl Julian base shop, we want you to text in 404-465-1830. Tell us who your RVP is so we know who to count you for. Tell us your solution number. If you don't got one, just put guest. Once again, we only want to hear from the top 4 base shops, which is Walter Charles base shop, Daryl Julian base shop, David Catan's base shop, and Bel DeRubio's base shop. So just a few more minutes to get that in.
Yeah, really just a few more. Hey, I just wanted to, I found them, the promotions from the William Kofer base. I wanted to congratulate Floretta Grant on her promotion to division.
That's great.
And Danielle Creek on her promotion to district. Congratulations. Applause.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Button. You're like out of practice for sure. All right. I think Andy's just got a few more words he's going to say to wrap it up. He's already done his questions that we talked about, most of them, except, well, you did the 700.
Well, you got the questions printed out, right?
Yeah, he's got them.
Okay. Well, just yell a couple out if they're
He's
not
good.
covered.
He's good. I'm ready. Is he there? There you are. You're muted. Hold on. You gotta mute yourself.
There we go.
There you are. Hey.
I already unmuted myself. I don't know why you guys keep muting me out. But, no, I'm just kidding. All right, so do it fast. You got to do it fast. You got to go through the numbers. If you're full time, you ought to be in front of 40 people a week minimum. 40 a week minimum. And I built the 22 new RVPs. I did that part time. I had a lot of stuff happen, death, destruction.
Is that hot market or cold market, Andy?
What now?
You said 40 a week. Is that hot market or cold market?
Oh, that's hot market. All hot market.
Okay.
You got a game for 40 a week. So I had all kinds of crap. So I did 20 a week and still built 22 new RVPs in less than 10 years, about 7 years. But when I built the original group, it was about 40 appointments a week in hot markets. Cold is going to get, you're going to recruit about 2 out of 100 in a cold market. Lisa Jones doesn't have a car, doesn't have a market. You give her a script. Who do you know that's looking, hungry, motivated, and looking to change that? You know, right now with COVID, there's so many people looking over their shoulder. Who do you know that's motivated and hungry and looking right now? That's all I would say. I mean, I wouldn't even go into anything else when they say, what is it? And I don't care where they are. If they're at Burger King, say it's not working at Burger King. If they're at the library, it's not working at the library. I need 20 minutes. When's a good time to sit down? When I built the original ones, we would go to Waffle House, IHOP, Denny's, whoever I was running with, say, hey, I'm going to need a cup of coffee. I get you something, like not food. And I did it on the cheap, one after another after another. You got to get through these. The cold market people go to meetings. The warm market people, the hot market, they go to, sit down one-on-one. But the cold market, you got to get meetings going and get them in it. You might start with 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, but you got to get those meetings up to where you got a lot of people in there. That's where you get the cold till you get 12 to 15 warm market recruits, 12 to 15 recruits that have warm markets and hot markets. And 2 or 3 people like that have those hot markets, you keep driving through. So in Jaron and Peggy, yes, I went on probably 200 appointments with them. I went on with Belda Rubio, their team, over 100, 150, 200. Robbie Hall, same thing. I drove it, always looking for who's the next person that's looking to do something big here. And I just want to say, because we're talking with Wes, we did a great job tonight. Darla and Rob talking about, if they don't have a market and they're not capable of doing anything, no big vision, they don't even have anybody go see. I don't ever get mad at them. I seamlessly disengage where, hey, you know what? You need to get with somebody in the office, and I have that designated, okay? So you have people in your office who know where everything is. Get them signed up for, some of the other products or whatever. Get them in PFSU. Get them, make sure they come to the next Zoom. If there's a chance they'll pay their own way, go to Colorado. They'll buy a plane ticket, and, pay the fare. It's not that expensive, $400, $500, $600. You would have people, if you told them, they would go. That could be a changer for them. But at the end of the day, I'm nice to all those people, but I have to work with the people who are going to put hot market people in front of me. And if you think about not calling their appointments, with me, I don't care who it is. Anybody's got any credibility or leverage in the market, there's no way. Like if you take Belda Rubio. Okay, who's your top 8 people? Okay, let's call the first one, your best friend. Hi, this is Andy Young, and I'm working with Belda Rubio, and we have something that's part of her presentation that she needs to take a look at for part of her training. Whatever the crap, because I've never done it. Whatever y'all say. Part of her training is sit down. Anybody that knew Belda that well would go, where's Belda? Why are you calling her? Is Belda okay? I mean, and I know some of you are saying, I got to help my guys. Here's the challenge. The more crap you got to do to go back to instructional T-ball, little league, minor league, people who can't figure out how to go get the market because they're going to go through 600-700 people to get the 12 to 1,500 they need, 2 out of 100. If they're willing to do that work, they'll do it. It was already proven in a study that if you knocked on doors and said, good afternoon, you're not interested in buying any life insurance today, are you? That's a great setup, right? Even a negative. You're not interested in buying any life insurance today, are you? 1 out of 62 people would buy a policy. Well, I'm not interested in just selling life insurance. I'm telling you, it comes out to 2 out of 100. So get through there, eat all the crap up front, get the job done, and make it happen. And if they're not willing to do that, go through the paces, ride the bus, or whatever they got to do, you cannot The more building and winning. I'm just the last part of any question I'm answering right now because we got time constraints. But it's like going to probably a horse where they sell crap for horses, saddles and all that stuff, or Bass Pro Shop or somewhere, outdoor stuff. It'd be like going and getting a big belt, or even like an electrician belt. Go get an electrician belt and put about 20 hooks on it. And what you're doing by doing all that crap is you're hooking your new recruits who can't put you in front of hot market people. What you're doing is you're hooking them onto the belt. It's like, I got 8 new people, no market. You got 8 people that you're dragging around with your belt, and you wonder why you can't get crap done. Why you, and if you think I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Why you can't even produce 1 district in a month. You're an RVP, that's 50 grand in cash. You produce 2. The reason you can't do it is you got this belt on with all these hitches on it instead of finding places for them to go. And this is not a negative thing. Everybody turns and says, well, what are you going to do to help them? Look, I am a professional athlete, major league, NFL coach at Primerica. We play in the big leagues here. I have to find big league players. Now, we have all the developmental leagues, but I don't go to T-ball. I don't do your conference call with 87 people or whatever to get them going. I have people that do that. We do all that stuff, but I had to quickly get my way away from that. I mean, the closer you are to the drive-through window saying, the closer you are saying, would you like fries with that? You're the furthest away from the money. And you got to put yourself in a position where you find hot market people, quit lining people up with this big electrician belt where you can't even walk a mile in 5 days because you got all these people hanging on. And so nothing wrong with them. I got thousands of people who do a little bit. And I know I'm talking to some of them right now. And when they are ready, they'll go do something. And when they're not ready right now, I have to play games every week. I just told you, you have 4 quarters. You have 4 weeks between now and the 1st of December, month end for November. You have 4 weeks from right now. Probably go to midnight. So you have 4 weeks in a couple hours probably. If you don't find people ready to play now, you're going to get beat in November right now. So you either go through the work to find the people that can put you in front of hot market people, have the hot market people that you have right now. And if you don't have any of that, you better go find some people that can put you in front of hot market people. That's how you're going to win here. And if you don't have your presentation, your part down like Wes does, you're going to get beat too. Because then even if you had the people, you wouldn't be able to duplicate anything out there because you're all over the map. So there's a positive thing for you. So if you want to win big, it's time to man up, kids. It's time to do something big. This is 2020 and it's coming down to the end. What level do you want to play at? What level are you going to play at in 2021? It's all predicated on what you're going to do right now to change what you've been doing, because the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. You can't do that. You got to make a decision to win big. And that's what I challenge you guys to do.
All right. There we go.
There's Trish.
The marching orders. She'll be here in just a second.
All right.
So let's real quick remind everybody that Andy's whole system, all of it, and pretty much he said it all again tonight, so you can go back and listen to it on the website, getbiggergohome.com. Andy Young's complete system since the IPO. How I promoted 22 RVPs since the IPO, working 3 days a week, and I can say that that's true. He did only work 3 days a week, but he increased his override income by $50,000 a month.
That's serious.
50,000 times 12 is
500.
600.
600,000.
600. I was going to
I
try
went
not
to
to do
engineering
it for.
school, okay?
Yeah,
I know
we
math.
can tell.
I know math.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure. It's 56,000.
Yeah. 600,000 for those who are still struggling. So I'm pretty much saying it works.
It works.
It works. Just follow the system. It's on the website, both audio and video, so you can take it with you or you can watch it on your computer. Keystone, last few days to register. I'll be sending
when you
email
see us next
reminders.
week, it's going to be too
It'll
late.
be done, right? You guys can be trading amongst yourselves out on the Get Bigger or Go Home Facebook page. Mm-hmm. So it'll all sort out in the end, but we are going to limit them at the end of November 8th. Then we're down to the rally winner.
Yep. So they win a cup. We know about the cup now.
We know
at this
about
point.
the cup.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
A cup like
everybody
this.
wants the cup.
And then you get a 10-minute coaching for your team with Andy. on
Right.
Zoom, one-on-one. They can ask questions. They can get some feedback,
Yep.
get a little deeper
10
dive.
minutes. Yep. So Trisha's here. She's here.
All right, here we go. So, let's see here. Who am I starting with? Daryl Julian, you reported in with 62. We had 41 verify.
Oh.
I know. Walter, you reported in with 60. 69 verified. So Walter Charles, you had 60 reported, or you reported 60. 69 were verified. David and Garcia Catan, you reported in 63. You also had 69 verify. So I don't know who wins. I guess
That's
Walter
like a
wins
tie.
because he reported in less and came in with 9 more.
No.
I don't know. So, and then Belda Rubio reports in with 130. She had 117 verified. So
All
she
right.
is our winner this week.
Week 5.
Again. She's on a
Week
roll.
5.
5 times.
5 times. We send her a cup. She sends us a picture. It's very awesome.
They're closing
Right.
in, though. I mean, the gap is.
Yep, it is, and it will. It's going to be. People are going to be like, wait a minute.
So you know the drill, Belda,
Challenge
but
us
just
out.
remember, send an email, tickets@nightglass.com. We'll get the cup to you, organize the Zoom, send us a picture with the cup because we got to get that graphic on
Yep.
social media. Might need to bring in Angelo or somebody else to help,
Help
you hold all
you
them all.
know, like
But,
double-fisted tonight.
Yep.
All right, you guys, what a great week. What a great night. We've
Mhm.
learned so much. Bobby Peterman and his stories. Wes, like, just telling us exactly how he did it, right? And
Yep.
it's fresh in his mind. It's like right there, and was real transparent about the mind change it took to just be simple and
Yep.
embrace the repetition. We love you all. I think you had something you wanted to close
Yeah,
with.
so I'd hate to close on a sad note, and we'll show the
but it's a
Keystone
loving
video.
note.
But yeah, on RVP that's been with Get Bigger,
Bigger,
Go
Go
Home for a
Home, part of our
while
family.
now. Part of the family. Moose Krause passed away suddenly just recently. Left behind a young family,
Yep.
young kids. Really sad story. But keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. He was a great guy if you ever met him. And we'll show a little
Yeah.
video here at the end just so you can help remember him, some of the great times we had with him. But he's a veteran, served our country,
Yes.
a really
Yeah,
great
great
guy.
guy.
So, Moose, we're going to miss you in Keystone.
We are.
really
We're
will.
gonna miss you, period. Yes. All right, you guys. We will see you next Tuesday.
That's just wrong. Well, you should have known it from the very start. This girl will leave you with a broken heart. Now listen, people, what I'm telling you. I'll keep away from her run around soon. Yeah, there's a smile on her face, a touch of a hand in this girl's warm embrace. So if you don't want to cry like I do, I'll keep away